Hello. I think there's 4 viewers at the moment. I've got the chat open on my phone, so if you want to ask any questions, you can do. I'm just going to be doing some work. This isn't a tutorial video or anything like that. I just thought I'm doing some work, so I might as well live stream it. And if you have any questions, you can just jump in and ask me. And if you want to know anything about HISE, I can like make a little demo project sort of separate to this one or something. Whatever is whatever works out best. So at the moment, I'm working on this player plugin, um, and I'm just deciding what I'm going to do with some of this GUI stuff. You probably won't get any audio through from this because I've got my headphones on and I'm listening to some music. So I've just changed the name of one of my panels, and I was getting a bunch of errors because I couldn't find the child controls of the panel because I changed the name of it. So I just click this little button up here to rebuild the interface, and it seems to be happy now. Still getting a couple of errors in the script, but I expected that. Okay, so I've got the height being set by the script somewhere, so I need to change that because I don't want it to do that anymore. Oh, here it is. Let's just get rid of that. See if that fixes that. Okay, it's 350. I had this all automated before, which is why it was being set by the script, but now I want to do it manually. So what I'm doing, I've got this JSON file, and that has all the data for this particular patch, this guitar patch, and this is the GUI data here, or some of it, and I'm just updating that, and then the script reads from that file, and it should set everything up correctly. So at the moment it's looking a bit scrambled. Still looking scrambled. Well, that's a slight improvement. Okay, something's going wrong with this. So have I made a mistake in here? Oh, there it is, missing a comma. JSON is a tricky format because you won't get any errors in HISE if there's a problem with your JSON file. It just won't work. But it's usually because you've missed a comma or something like that, or a quotation mark, something small usually. Yeah, that's what looks right now. So it's just one of those things you get used to after a while. Okay, so that works. That works. So I'm just working on getting a different interface loading up for each instrument. And so far it seems to be working. It's all, these are quite boring interfaces. I'll probably swap them out and put in separate graphics for each one, but at the moment it's just a sort of proof of concept. So different keyboard layouts, different control layouts. They're all using the same graphics for the widgets, and all the backgrounds are drawn with paint routines, including the fretboard. That's paint routine as well. So that seems to be working. What I want to do now is tidy up a bit of my code. So I've currently got guitar mode, that's one file and one namespace, and then I've got this other one called picker, which is for the guitar picking. Originally I had a guitar strumming engine and a guitar picking engine, and for now I've taken out the guitar strummer because I want to work on that separately before I reincorporate it. So now that I've got rid of the strummer, it simplifies it a bit. So this picking this picking script is quite small, so I think I'm just going to incorporate that back into the main guitar mode script. So I'm just working out the best way to do that. I think I'll just cut and paste it. Don't think that's going to break anything. Actually, I'll copy it just in case I need to come back to this. Where to put it? Fret overlay. So this all GUI stuff. I think I'll just stick it at the top. Yeah, alright then. I think I'll be fine actually. So, I'll remove that picking script from here. Don't need that anymore. Guitar panel. So all this paint routine is doing is drawing stripes. Let's have a look. Duplicate const var declaration, line 92. What do we have on line 92? Oh, row height. Yeah, okay. So I must have just added, yeah, I've just added one called row height, but they have the same values, that's okay. So I'll just delete this one. And I'm going to change this as well because this is currently a miscellaneous controls section, but it's not going to be. It's this vibrato depth, vibrato rate stuff, that's not really miscellaneous, so I'll put that somewhere else. But as I was building this, I was sort of just going along with it as I thought of it, so it needs a bit of reorganization to tidy it up. Okay, that should work now. Right. Okay, so that's that. I also have a different interface for the settings page and preset browser, obviously. So all these backgrounds are drawn using paint routines. What's that? Just realised my music isn't playing. Where is it? Better. Okay. I've tidied that up. Still need some work, but that'll do for now. Need to tidy this up. I'm not sure what to do about this because velocity and release don't really go with vibrato rate and vibrato depth, and ideally I'd like to have a curve editor like I do for, I think it's this one. Yeah, I'd like to have a curve editor for velocity. I don't need it for vibrato though, really. Actually, the vibrato should be disabled for the harp instrument. It's not necessary for those ones. So let's see if that's happening. So vibrato is just created with a couple of oscillators. So that's not disabled. Where is it? Disabled down here. That must just be on pitch. Right, so it's not disabled here. So I need to disable it. Okay. So we need to go through and disable everything to do with vibrato. And how do I decide if vibrato is going to be active in my little script thingy-majig? Let's see. I guess. So this whole file applies to the whole instrument. So in this case, it's the one for the nylon guitar. But then I might have sub patches. So I have this patches object. So I can have different patches. So I have nylon guitar, but if this was a generic guitar instrument, it might have nylon guitar and then steel guitar and whatnot as different patches. So all the stuff that's shared between all of them goes outside of the patches object, and stuff that's specific to each patch goes in here. I suppose I could just have a vibrato property so that it's true. Yeah, I don't see that being a problem. That's how I'll do it for now. So let's go to the harp. Okay, now we've just got to implement this. And I'll do this in my preset handler script. I'll probably change this script later as well because it's getting a bit messy. Initialize samplers. Initialize modules. Oh yeah, I remember what that does. So next thing to do, let's get rid of that. I'll need to make sure I grab all of those modulators. The LFOs, aren't there? So that's an LFO. But I've got these other modulators down here which are also related. So what sort of modulator is that? That'd be a time variant modulator. So I need to get all the time variant modulators. So what I really want to do is just get all the modulators that have vibrato in the name. Global time variant modulator. See if that works. Yeah, I think. Yeah, let's grab this one here. So now I need to grab the LFO. So just do a temp variable for this because I'm just testing things. Just LFO modulator. Oops. Yeah, so that got all of those. But I don't need to toggle those ones, I don't think. So look. Toggle that. Yeah, these ones go off automatically. Then I don't need to toggle those two. Okay, so I might do this one manually, and then the rest down here I'll do automatically. And by automatically I mean I'll get the script to do it. So I'll grab a reference to this. And then we'll have time variant mods. Oh, it's mod IDs, yeah. I'll just double check what that gives me. That just gives vibrato 0, and I also need to grab hold of this one here, this vibrato offset, and that's a constant modulator. So, we're a constant modulator. It's just constant, okay. And we'll check that that's outputting. Let's see what we're getting there. Yeah, vibrato offset. Okay, good. So I've got all the mods I need. I've got the mod IDs. I actually need to grab the mods. Okay. So we'll grab the time variant ones first. And I'll need an object to store those in. Time variant mods. It's going to be an array. Oh, hang on, what's this? Get all modulators. That might save me some trouble. Turns an array of all modulators that match. Oh, well, that might be useful. Especially if I can use that in a function. Oh, that'll save me a lot of trouble. I'm not very good with regex, but let's try that. Okay. Let's call it set vibrato. That'll do. So we've got the, it's coming from the patch. Okay. Get all modulators. Leave that for now. Top length. No idea if this is going to work. Actually, that's not going to work, is it? Let's just do a little test. Mods. Let's see what this gives us. Oh, I actually need to call it as well. Call it there. And this will be triggered when I load one of these up. Okay, that's interesting. So that implies there's 76 mods. I don't think I've got that many mods, but maybe I do. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7, 8. 76 seems like a lot. Okay. Let's just output the ID of each one. That might be more useful. Because I think it's probably outputting them twice for some reason. I seem to recall this function was, this one here was triggering twice for some reason, and I haven't worked out why yet. I'll do that later. Let's see. Yeah, gain modulation, gain modulation, gain modulation. Okay, that's the 3 mic positions. That's fine. Global modulators, velocity dynamics, alpha intensity mod, auto range. Okay, so it's outputting some of them multiple times. Okay, I'll have to work out what's going on there, but that's good. So I can do my little check in here to see if it's got vibrato in the name. So if all mods, I mean, what I really should do is put some regex in there to just pull out the ones with vibrato. That'd be a bit more sensible. But I'd have to look up the regex for that. And oh, actually, there is a regex thing built in, isn't there? Matches the string against the regex token. Oh, okay, that's different. Yeah, I'll put the regex in there later on when I look it up. But for now, I'll do it this way. So if it's got vibrato, then I'm going to set the state of it. Assume it's just bypass. How do we bypass them? Oh, there's a separate function for that. It's not set attribute, it's set bypassed. Yeah, set bypassed. It's equal to does the patch. The patch is the vibrato property, wasn't it? So that should do it. I think so. Save this just in case it crashes. Save that as well. Okay, so vibrato is enabled, and let's load up a patch that doesn't have vibrato, and hopefully it'll disable it. Hey, that worked. These ones haven't been affected though. Oh yes, they have. Yeah, it's this one down here. Vibrato. Oh, brilliant. That's going to save me a lot of work. So then if I load the nylon guitar, which does have vibrato, it should re-enable it. Ah. Didn't re-enable it. Okay. So I'll check that in a second, but I can get rid of all this stuff. I found a much easier way to do it. It's better. Okay, so it didn't enable it. G.patch. There's G.patch, so let's see what the patch contains. G.patch vibrato equals true. Oh, hang on a minute. That bypassed true. Did I put vibrato on that? I bet I did. So this is the harp. Yeah, I should have not put vibrato on there, that's all. So it's not equals true because we don't want to bypass it, it's the opposite of whatever it is, so we just put 1 minus, there we go. And now it should work. So Michaela's harp, vibrato should be disabled, and it is, and nylon guitar should enable it. Yay, that worked. Disable, enable. Good. So I'm disabling these LFOs to try and save a bit of CPU usage when changing between, when changing to a patch that doesn't need to use the LFO. So CPU usage is at 1 point something. If I go to Michaela's harp, it should drop a bit. Doesn't seem to have changed it. Oh, maybe. It's minute though, isn't it? I mean, we dropped below 1% there, but there's so much other stuff going on. So I'll have to do some proper benchmarking later on. But yeah, that seems to help. Okay, what's next? I'd like to know if this function is triggering twice, because it seems to be every time we change patch. So let's just do a little print here. We'll just see how many times this function gets called basically when I load a patch. So just once. Okay, that's good. When I recompile, it gets called on compilation as well. Oh, okay, that's because it's triggered by this knob here. Yeah, okay, that's fine. So it is only calling it once. Well, I don't have a problem with that then. That's fine. So I think I'm about done with these 3 instruments for now. Just want to double check this guitar thing. I'm sure I'm missing something. Just check that the interface is working correctly. So, see, I've got a lot of stuff here that doesn't matter at the moment. So this interface here, pretty much all these controls on the left, control this module here, this guitar picker module. So if I change the direction, it should change it down here, which it does. And I'm just basically want to check it. I just want to check all these controls. There isn't a hand position control, so that's fine. Capo, yeah, capo works. Legato range works. That doesn't have a control. That works. That works. Okay, that all seems to work. Did the GUI update? Yeah. Okay, I think I'm about done with this one then. I'm just using one sampler for this particular instrument, so the other samplers are disabled. Oh, actually no, I'm using one for release triggers as well, so sampler 3 is enabled, but the others are disabled. And we're getting an error. Oh yeah, okay, that's because that articulation isn't programmed yet. Okay. So the harp, does that work? Yeah, it works for now. Need some adjustment to the GUI, but they all do, so I'm not going to worry about that just yet. The harp. Yeah, that works. Does mixer work? Yeah. Yeah, okay. Right, I'm going to map a new instrument then. So, let's see. I haven't tried a woodwind instrument yet with this. I'll go for this one. Make a new expansion. Actually, I'll do it through here. And I need some sample maps, which I've already mapped out from my previous version of this instrument, so that saves me a bit of trouble. And the samples, I won't take the actual proper sample, the WAV files for now. I'm just going to take these ones here, but later on, once I get this all working, I'll take the WAV files across. I noticed actually doing this, I got some weird stuff happening with the WAV files. Let's see, where's that one? Well, there's some weird stuff. So yeah, because I'd taken the compressed ones instead of the WAV files, I was getting weird things happening. So let's see, yeah, like that. That is not how the actual audio file is. It doesn't have the tail of a sample at the beginning and the start in the middle, but something weird's gone on when I've rearranged the sample maps. But these are all just temporary anyway, so I'll fix that later. Right, I want to clear this out. You want to create a new sample map? The current sample map will be discarded. Yep. Right, sample maps, samples, and that's all I need for now. So this should update automatically, I think, and pick up the new expansion. Yep, there it is, Kazbek Winds. And it does that automatically because of the way I programmed it to detect all the expansions and then fill up this list. I showed how to do that in my expansions 101 video. But it won't load anything yet because I haven't made the data file. I've made one of these for it. So I'll do that now. Right, let's copy one of these across. Okay, there we go. So I've just copied it from the harp. And just got to change some things. It's not called Michaela's harp. Right, this one's got 2, so that'd be the duduk, or duduk, or duduk, or however it's pronounced. And what sample maps do I want? Right, so I've got 3. What I'll probably end up doing, because currently I've got the articulation separated by sampler. Oh, but actually I think the sustains, I think there might be more than one dynamic, so there might be dynamic crossfading going on. Velocity 1, but yeah, so there's, right, that explains that. So the sustains will need their own sampler, so that makes it a bit easier. So in sampler 1 I'm going to have, I have the sustains, and in sampler 2 I'm going to have the staccato. I don't know if that gain setting's right yet. Okay, and then in sampler 3 I'll have the ornaments. So this is a case where I'm going to use 3 different samplers. And I'm not sure what the range of this instrument is yet. Oh, and the articulation switching, yeah, so I'm going to need sustain, staccato, and ornaments. I don't know if I can have the ornaments active at the same time, but I'll look at that later. And this will have vibrato. So set vibrato to true. Oh, missed a comma there. That would cause me problems later. Right, so that's going to be sampler 1, group 1, sampler 2, group 1, sampler 3. Actually, they're not going to be group specific, I don't think. That one isn't. The staccatos might be, but I'll say not for now. Don't need the mixer. Sounds like some big vehicle has just pulled up outside. I bet that's somebody getting their shopping delivered. Oh, it's gone. Probably not shopping delivered then. That all looks good. Let's see. So I need to work out what the range of this instrument is. So hopefully that'll happen when it maps the samples. Let's see. Click it. Yeah, you get the samples map. Ah, okay, so I did something weird when I was mapping these samples. When I wrote this Kazbek instrument, I was writing just that one instrument, so it wasn't very generic. So I was able to customize all the scripting, and it looks like I put the 2 round robins one after another in the along the pitch range. And I'm guessing I did that because the groups are used for dynamic crossfading. Yeah, which I haven't implemented yet in this player plugin that I'm making. So I'm going to have to rework these samples. So the first thing I need to do is enable some group crossfading, and that is going to have to be part of this. So I'm going to put a new thing called group XF, and there's going to be 3 layers. Nope, 3 layers. And then I'm going to do this through scripting. I've got all the samplers already in an array up here. So I will have another function. I'll comment all of these later, at least that's what I'm planning to do. Let's call this group XF. Zero is less than samplers.length. Samplers I.set attribute, and then it's the group XF one on the set, which is, where is it? Samplers, sampler. So group XF, crossfade groups, so that's what it's called, lowercase f. Was it capital C? It was. Okay. Crossfade groups. Is equal to G. Let's go patch group XF does not equal undefined. Yeah, that should work. Let's try that. So if it's undefined, that means I haven't defined it in here. It should disable that. Soon see if that works. So disabled, still disabled, still disabled, enabled. Good. Brilliant. Now why can't I edit it? Ah, okay. I need a little bit of a refresh. Hopefully that'll work once it's compiled. Might have an issue there, but we'll see about that. Okay, so it's going to have a 3-way crossfade. And for now, I'm just going to do a standard equal power crossfade. I might change it to an S shape later if I find that works a bit better. But I'm hoping to do some phase alignment on these samples, so that should improve the crossfading anyway. Okay, 1, 2, 3, and let's save that. Now, if I had one with a different number of crossfade groups, I would have to account for that in the scripting, which is why I've actually, rather than using a true-false value here, is I've put the number of groups. But currently all my crossfading instruments, I always use 3 dynamics, so I'm just going to leave that as it is for now. But you can redraw this. You can redraw this table through scripting, and I think you can actually copy it. If I just press Ctrl C there, I'll paste it in. Maybe that's not how you do it. But there is a way to copy and paste tables, so that would be a possibility as well. Right, and now I actually need to link up the crossfadeability of this. Ah, no, I made a big mistake here. Because I put this group XF on the whole patch, so that means each of these samplers is going to have group XF. Yeah, that was it, yeah. Which might be the case, but some samplers like the staccato one might not use crossfading, so I've actually got to do this per sampler instead, so that's a little annoying. I've got to redo that, so I'll put that in there. And recompile, so that's probably going to turn it, that'll turn the group X-fade off now. Yeah, so that gets disabled. I don't know if it'll still respond to this table, because yeah, that table shouldn't be there now. Yeah, so but it needs to be per sampler. So is my stream still going? I'll just check. Yeah, that's still going. Yeah. Oh wow, loads of questions which haven't popped up on my phone. Sorry guys. Hello. I think I'll learn HISE during summer holidays. I've got a JavaScript background, so it shouldn't be too hard. Yeah, it's not exactly JavaScript. But it's very similar. So if you know a bit of JavaScript, it'll definitely help. But I got caught in the trap originally because I used JavaScript for web development. I originally thought that HISE was using sort of standard JavaScript, but it isn't. It's a subset. So if you go in there looking for like ES6 or anything like that, you're going to be missing lots of stuff that you used to. Is the instrument sound muted on purpose? Yeah, I can enable that actually. Let's see. There's some way of doing that. I've got to set up a connection in here. So let's see. So I think I've got to connect that to that and click that. And let's see if that works. It'll be this one. So you might be able to hear that now. Hopefully that works. So let's see with the guitar. So that should work now. Oops. Now, why is it? See, I thought this chat was updating on my phone, and I've been thinking nobody's saying anything, so I'll just carry on. But it hasn't been updating, so I'm going to just see if I can get that up and running now, because that would be much handier than me having to swap the screen out on this. Ah, okay, now it's updating. I mean, I'll keep checking just in case it stops working. You can hear the audio, great. Hi David, what do you think about NI discontinues all software and plugins? You're just trying to get me to rant. I think it's I mean, I don't have any of those particular plugins. In fact, I don't think I've got any plugins direct from NI. Certainly not any that are on that list anyway. But I'm against all DRM really, so I don't agree with it. But if you want to know my deeper opinions, I've been posting on that thread on VI Control, so you can read my full rants there. Audio works good. This is something that's bothering me actually. That says note net. This should. I'll make this a bit bigger. I'm on a 2K screen here. I've zoomed in the code editor, so hopefully you can see that okay, but I forgot to zoom this in. But yeah, you see that says note names. It should be overlaying the note names, but it isn't. But if I come off it and then go back on, it will. So I think I'll fix that next after I fix this little sampler thingy. So group XF. Right. So I'm going through every sampler. Okay, I'm going to take this code out and I'm actually going to do it here where I'm setting up the samplers. What's this function called? Initialize samplers. So that makes sense. That's where I should be doing this group xfade thing. So let's see. So if the sampler is enabled, put it in here, and it won't be patch, it will be, I assume that's it. No, that can't be right. Where am I storing this data? Sampler data ID. Okay, and then I can get rid of that function and it should work. So it's disabled and now it's enabled, but it shouldn't be enabled for the other ones. No, that's disabled. Good. And then that should disable it again. Yeah, brilliant. Okay, so that's the crossfade thingy sorted for now, at least. Just gotta deal with that mapping. Right. Let's get rid of that. Could one of you type something in the chat? I just want to see if it updates on my phone. Okay, and I stack the staccato like that for some reason. I have no idea what I was doing with this library. I can't remember it. I think I might have to open the old project and take a look. I'll save this one. I'll just turn that off. I'll open a new instance of HISE. Okay, my live chat says someone is typing, so that's progress. Okay. So this is the original instrument. Just trying to remember how I scripted the round robins on it. Okay, here it is. Oh, I get it. You type typing. I thought it said somebody was typing. Right, what's this offset thing? Right, so this is just a very standard round robin, cycled round robin. So we've got 2 round robins and it's just offsetting the note. So if we go into the wave editor, it'll just be alternating. Okay. Now in my other project, let's go back to that other project. I've got round robin handlers set up, but I don't think they can handle that, and I don't really want to edit them, so I think I'd rather edit the sample map. But this is the first one I've done in this project that also has dynamic crossfading, so I'll have to experiment with that. So there's a round robin. Oh, let's set the range of this. So what's the range? 57 to 71. So I'll update that. Oh, now that's going to be interesting because this has got 2 patches in and each patch has a different range. So... alright, this gets interesting. I think I'll just do range and forgotten what it was. 57 to 71. No, 57 to 72. Okay. So now I've just got to make it update the playable range. Usually it's grabbing the range from here. Oops, from here. But now I want it to do it per patch instead. So my idea with this player plugin is eventually I'll have all of my projects in one super project, this project, and that way I just don't have to maintain all the different projects because it is a pain. The only problem with that is each project has its own things that are unique. So woodwinds are different to harps, and they're different to guitars, and they're different to percussion. So it's building an instrument that building a plugin that can handle all those different types of instruments and all the needs of those instruments, while at the same time being efficient and not having stuff hanging around that isn't needed for certain patches and just eating up resources. So I'm trying to keep everything really running smoothly between all the different ones. So as I'm going along, I'm finding out things like this, that I actually need it to be per patch, not per instrument and stuff like that. So where am I setting the keyboard range? That would be the first thing. Not here. So that must be in another file. I've got all these different files doing all different jobs. GUI setup, that's probably where I put it. Yep, key ranges. Okay. I'm gonna have to totally change the way this works, I think. Okay, let's have one. Maybe not. Maybe we can do it. Playable range. Oh yeah, I was doing it like that. Okay, yeah. I was allowing it so I could have multiple ranges. That's why I've got an array. So you could have up to 4 different note ranges, and this works, for example, with the guitars. I've got like these keys up here are a different colour, and those represent the individual strings. So that's why I needed the different note ranges, different colour ranges. That doesn't include key switches, they're handled separately. So I need to have ranges, not range. And change it to that. I keep it like this. I think I will do it like that. It'll be per patch. Okay. So now, yeah, that works. But now it won't work for the others. For some reason it works for the guitar, but it shouldn't work for the guitar. Let's see. Try that again. Okay, why does it work for the guitar? Don't know why it works, but let's move that into here, and now it will just work as it should do. Okay. And I've got to do it for the others as well. This is why I didn't just sort of make this player plugin, make one library for it and then release it. I wanted to test it with a bunch of different ones and get them all working smoothly, so it'll be a while before I release this because there's still a lot to do. And I've got the whole GUI thing to sort out yet as well. Some of these only have one range. That one's got two. Don't need to, I can leave that in there. That text where it says main and picking, that isn't actually used in the script at all. But I mean, it might be in the future, but it's just there as a note for me, so that I know what these ranges are. Because you can't put comments in a JSON file. If you do that, it will it'll cause a problem in HISE. It won't work. Okay, that should all work now. So each one should have its range. Okay, guitar's broken. That's not a problem. Okay, I'll try that. Oh, I know why the guitar's broken. So yeah, the guitar's broken because this one is also looking for the range. G_ranges. G? Why did I put it in a global variable? That seems strange. Okay, but I did for some reason. I don't like that. I might change that. Okay, so that will be probably in the preset handler. There it is. Should be patch. Yeah, that's the other thing, because I'm trying to make an instrument working. Yeah, because I'm trying to make an instrument, a plugin that will work with multiple instruments. I end up with all these millions of different files to sort of try and compartmentalize each bit. So the guitar should work now. That works. This fretboard thing has taken me ages to do, and I'm still not 100% happy with it. There's still some sort of bugginess in it, but basically if you play a chord, it's got a sort of built-in rule that there's only one note per string allowed, at least in the monophonic mode. So it's monophonic per string. So if you play a chord, it will try and map the notes to other strings. But as you can see there, that isn't how you'd play it if you're a guitarist. So you'd play it like that. But depending on, as you hit the keys, there's obviously microsecond differences between which note is the first one in. So it just maps it based on the order that you play them, so based on the order of the chord. So you can end up with things like that sometimes. But if you know what you're doing, you can account for it like that and trigger it in a more realistic way. And I was experimenting with ways to get it to do that automatically. Basically it had a delay and it would wait for you to finish playing the chord, but that would cause a bit of lag, and I figured it's best just to get people to learn to either live with that sort of voicing or play it in such a way that you get the correct voicing. And if you're editing it in a DAW anyway in the piano roll, you can make sure it always triggers the right voicing. So, and sometimes you might want a weird voicing like that anyway. But yeah, it's monophonic per string, which means it's the first instrument I've done with polyphonic legato, and it was a real challenge to do. So each string, so the strings are, let's just zoom in on this. So you can see on the keyboard the strings are highlighted, and when we change the capo position, it changes which is the string note. So these are the open strings. So from each string we've got polyphonic legato. So we can do slides and stuff as well. Things like that. It's really annoying to script it though. But it means that you can just play quite fluidly. If you want to do hammer-ons and things like that, you can just play it. So it's quite good. Sort of unrelated question, but has anyone tried doing a zero phasing legato? The guitar sounds wonderful. The samples aren't mine. I haven't actually recorded my guitar yet. Well, I'm going to do a few guitars, but the nylon guitar I've got, I haven't recorded yet. So these samples are just pinched temporarily from another library by another developer. So I'm just borrowing them. Zero phasing legato. Do you mean like what's the word? Phase aligned. I've been experimenting with phase alignment for years, and Ilan Hickler was working on phase alignment, and I think he offers that as a service. He'll do phase aligned samples, but I don't know what technique he's using. There's a tutorial video on YouTube about doing phase alignment. Basically, just it's ultra tuning the samples. And I was having a discussion on VI Control with a guy who's been experimenting with phase alignment as well, and we've come up with a system which I've been experimenting with, which I was trying to phase align my oboe instrument because the oboe is really quite phasey, and we were getting some quite good results with it. So I need to do some more experimentation, and I want to make some scripts to automate it because it's a really slow process to do it manually for a lot of samples. And if that comes out well, I'll do a tutorial about it, and those scripts will be available. It was in I was doing it in Ardour. Let's see. I don't know if I still got the project. No, I don't have the project there. But I was doing it there because I can make use of the Lua scripting. But yeah, if that comes off, that'll be in all of my libraries, and I'll do a tutorial about it. Well, it seems like my the live chat's updating on my phone, so that's good. Right, what else? So, oh yeah, I'm going to fix this thing because that's bothering me. This overlay. So I'll get rid of that for now. Zoom in a bit. So I've got a separate script to handle all my all of the fingerboard stuff. So there it is. It's basically a giant paint routine and then a couple of helper functions. So this is all the paint routine, and this is where the overlay is drawn. I think somewhere around here. Note names. Here we go. Data.overlay. So it should be set by that. So save in preset is set to true. So that should trigger at the beginning. Okay, so it should be this value here. So let's just see what that's. I don't want to do that in a loop. We'll do it there. So we'll just see what that is giving us. Okay, it's undefined. find out where the code is, where that control is triggered. Probably in here. Overlay. Here it is. So this should be triggered when I change. Oh, is that going to be? Yeah, it should be triggered when I load up the. When I hit F5. Yeah, so it's triggered there, and then it should. Oh, okay. The mode isn't being set. I see. So that's only going to happen after I've selected that. You know what, I can just get rid of that. I don't think that'll do any harm, and I think that'll make it work. Let's just try that. So the overlay should work. Yeah, okay, that was an easy fix. Let's try that again. Oops. Without auto tune, so without flattening the pitch, you mean? That's good. Yeah, I was using what did I use? It wasn't auto tune. It was some auto tuner, but it wasn't like the official auto tune. I think I was using pitch envelopes and the rubber band library, and then I was doing some sort of time offset thing. But I was having to do it manually. I can't remember the details now. But yeah, what I was trying to do is I wanted a script to do it, so I didn't have to do it manually. And in Ardor, you can use is it Ardor or Ardor? It's probably Ardor, isn't it? In Ardor, you can use VAMP plugins, which are like C++ plugins, but you can access them through Lua scripting, and they're really powerful for audio analysis. They can do things like convert audio to MIDI and stuff like that. And Reaper doesn't have those. There's been a request. There's been a few requests for them to include it, and I'm not sure why they haven't. But that's one place, one thing that Reaper is lacking in its scripting. But I mean, it does have really powerful scripting anyway. So you can probably achieve most of the same things. Right, so that works. Do the other overlays work? Yeah. I had some interesting issues with velocity with this. So actually this is a good view of it. So there's three dynamics. And they're separated into these blocks. And the reason they're separated into these blocks is each group of 4 represents one string of the instrument at a particular dynamic and playing either an up note or a down note, depending on like which pick direction, and also 2 round robins. So each block represents one take of every single string, and I think it's 12 frets per string. And then this block is the second dynamic, and then this other block, all of this is the third dynamic. So I'm using velocity to separate them, but I also want velocity to control the gain and stuff like that. And if you change the velocity to pick a particular note, then you can't also use it to trigger the gain modulator because it'll be fixed at whatever velocity. So I had to find a way around that. So what I did is I store the velocity up here before it gets down here and gets changed, and I store it in a global variable, and then I added a little scripted modulator down here that just picks up that global velocity and divides it by 127, and that gets around the issue nicely. It does mean it's a linear curve, but I don't really care, it sounds fine to me. I'm also going to use it to trigger a filter as well, because I'd like to add some filtering based on the velocity. I find that sometimes helps to smooth over the velocity changes, but I think that's a task for another day. Let's just save this. So let's go back to that woodwind one. And where is it? Sample editor, sample map editor. There it is. So what I'd like to do is see if my built-in round robin handler that I have in here can handle this situation. I don't think it can. So this is what I have. So it can do a fake round robin with borrowed samples, which is what it's doing now. And that sounds fine, but it can do velocity based round robin. So this, if I stack the round robins on the velocity range, but it can't do it with a note offset. So I've got two choices really. I can either stack these on the velocity range, or I can add a note offset mode to this. And I'm just trying to think how I'd do the note offset mode, because the thing about this round robin handler is I want it to be really generic and handle lots of different situations. So if I do this note offset mode, it has to be able to handle multiple situations. Oh, that's interesting. That's got a high note of 85 and a low note of 40. But it should be the same as this, so I'm guessing, yeah, I set it here. I forget what I've done all the time. So. Right, okay, so that should change these two knobs now. Let's see. That didn't work. Why didn't it work? Nope, definitely not working. Oh, hang on, did I? Yeah, multi-round robin. Round robin 0, so that's what it is. So let's go to the script and see where that's being handled. Initialize modules. Articulations. Where did I set up the round robin stuff? Articulations, samplers. Oh, okay. This might happen in the articulation handler. Yeah, because the round robin is different depending on the articulation. Okay. So that's where the problem lies. So if I change articulation, let's see if that updates it. Oh, yeah, one of those changed it, so that's good. 57, 72. Yeah, okay, so it works. I've just got to figure out what I'm doing with the articulations. Offset of velocity. If I do it as an offset, it's really tricky, because if I had 3 dynamics, then I'd put that one down there. And also then if you want to transpose the instrument as well, that's going to give me a headache. But is there any reason I can't do it with velocity? I don't think there is. I think I'll do it with velocity and we'll see how it goes. So I can take up half of the velocity range. This can take up the other half. Oh, actually, is that how this script works? Have a look how it works. That's the borrowed mode. This is the velocity mode. Set velocity to S. S -1. Oh, okay. So it's probably that needs to be set 0 to 1, and that needs to be set 2 to 3. That's what I'm guessing. And just while I move that, I'll make it a bit bigger. Okay, I'm guessing that should work with the velocity one. 1, 2, 3. So that should be set to type 3. I'll save that sample map. Oh, hang on, no, I won't. No, cancel. I only had group 1 selected instead of all groups. So I'm just going to do that again. Okay. Yep, that works now. So save that. Hopefully that doesn't break anything. Reload. Change articulation to whichever one it's going to give me. There we go. So it's velocity mode. So I guess I meant to set the number of round robins as well. So that will be something like, what do we have? So that's probably this thing, count, I'm guessing. I forget my own scripting, so that's why I have to guess a lot of stuff, because I've forgotten what I've done. Okay, so I'm going to set that to 2. There we go, so that sets that to 2. Now let's test it and see if we have 2 round robins. Doesn't sound like it. It's hard to see what's going on. One thing that we're lacking in HISE is we've got horizontal zoom, but we don't have any vertical zoom, so sometimes it's tricky to see what's being triggered. I'm only pressing one key, so I don't know why it's triggering all of these things. Ah, and the velocity handler is still affecting the CrossFit, the gain, so I'll have to change that. I'd really like to know what it's actually triggering. It seems like it's just triggering that one sample. So let's go into the script and have a look. So let's just see what that is. Ah, okay, so it's... Right, I see what's happening here. So the problem is with with HISE, you can only set things to a velocity that has a range of 1. Sorry, that has a range of 2. So like this is 2 to 3, so that's 2 numbers, 2 to 3. Whereas in Contact, you could set a range that's 2 to 2, so it'd only take a 1 velocity value. Now I've actually modified my version of HISE, so I can do that. I can have a range that's just 1 velocity step. So that would solve my problem here, although you're not meant to trigger a note with a velocity of 0, because a velocity of 0 is the equivalent of a note off. So I'd rather not do that. I don't think I have to. But yeah, that feature of just being able to set it to a range of 1, I've done a pull request, so hopefully Christoph will incorporate that into the main HISE code base. I needed this for when I was mapping those guitar samples because they were taking up so much of the velocity range the way I was mapping them. So let's just see, if I add 1 to that, that might solve the issue. There we go. Yeah, that solves it, because now it's triggering 1 and then 2. And that means I don't have to do anything else. Now this is actually connected to an external script, so that change I just made won't be saved. If I was to close and reopen this project, so I'm just going to save this. Sometimes it doesn't let me save directly to a file, I don't know why. So I'll just overwrite that. Ooh, no, I don't want to overwrite it with nothing. I want to overwrite it with the thing. Save script clipboard. There we go. Just check that's all in there. It's got my +1. Yeah. Right. Does that work for the random one as well? I guess it must do. Should test that quickly. So velocity random. Just see if that works. Yeah, that works just fine. Okay. And then we'll update. So that's an update to my framework. So I'll just quickly commit that to Git. Just uploading that to Git. There we go. Sent to Git. You should definitely use Git for version control. It's really easy to use once you get the hang of it. I mean, most of the time you're using like 3 commands, using git add, git commit, and git status. Those tend to be the commands I'm using all the time. There's more complicated ones, obviously, for other stuff. Right, so that seems to work. That release is a bit long. I'm guessing that's this ADSR. Yeah, let's change that to like 250 or something. That's too short. That's a bit better. And then I need to make sure I'm disabling this velocity mod, because at the moment different velocities are controlling the volume. But I'm going to have that controlled by the mod wheel because this is a dynamic crossfade patch. So I will need to add a modulator. So I've got one here called dynamics, a global modulator, so I'll add that to the gain. So I'll add dynamics there. Called dynamics mod 0. And I also need to add it to the sample start as well. No, I don't. Sample group fade. That's where I need to add it. So I'll add it there. And now this dynamics controller here should control the dynamics of the samples, should control the crossfade and the gain. And I'm going to turn that down so it's less, it's about 60. Yeah, we'll have about 60% on the gain. Now this isn't connected to the mod wheel yet because it's connected to CC94. And what I always connect them to CC94, and I tell my users to not use that CC for anything they're doing. And then what I can do is add a control to the interface, and using MIDI learn, I can connect this control and that control up to CC1. But anyway, for now, I'm just going to use move the default value knob, and you can see the sliders there update. So let's see if that works. And oh, I need to disable the velocity mod. That's why it's really quiet. So I'm going to increase that a bit to maybe 75%. These crossfades are quite smooth anyway, it seems, and I guess that's because there's a lot of turbulence in these samples. So maybe that's masking any phasing. There's a bit of phasing. But yeah, so that's not bad. I'm quite happy with that. And what I'll do is these sliders here, like the 75% there, this one will stay at 100%, but this one at 75% and this velocity mod, I need to set those through scripting, and again that'll be part of this articulations thing here. So each articulation, will it be in the articulation? No, it'll probably be in the sampler. One of these parts is where I'll put a value for that, and then in my script I'll update and change these from the script so that is more generic. And obviously for scripts that for instruments that don't use dynamic crossfading, I'll disable that mod and enable that mod. So that's and I'll disable that one. So that's probably the next thing I'm going to do. I'm not going to do that tonight because it's already like 10 past 11. So I think I'm going to call it there. I think I'm done for tonight. But yeah, that's what I'm going to do tomorrow. I'm going to get those working. So I like to stop when I've still got things to do because it means I've got something to start with straight away tomorrow. I know what I'm doing. Unless I forget during the night, which sometimes happens, and then I get on with something different in the morning. But that's my plan. So hopefully that'll work out. Yeah. Alright guys, thank you very much for joining me. I'll probably do a few more of these. I guess there'll be more of you around since we're all self-isolating. I mean, I've been self-isolating for 15 years, so it's nothing new to me. But I know that a lot more people sat at home with not much to do, so I can do some more of these live streams, and it's not really anything different for me. I'm just doing my work anyway, so I don't mind having an audience and having a bit of company while I do this. So what are we on at the moment? 18th of March. So if you're following me on Patreon, there'll be something posted this Saturday. I think I post something pretty much every Saturday, at least for the $5 and $10 members. And then at the beginning of next month, there'll be a new video. I don't know what topic I'm going to do next month. I've had a few suggestions. Somebody suggested that I follow the music box tutorial on the like the official HISE tutorial, the music box example. If that's still up there, I need to check, because I've never done that one before, and somebody said they'd like to see that done in a video so they sort of know what to do. So I might, if I can find that tutorial, I might do that as the video next month. I've had a few other ideas. There was somebody asking about mapping multi-mic samples, so that's a small one though, so I think I'll do that as like a little micro video, because that's quite easy to do. But there's been a few topic suggestions, but if you have any ideas, just send me a message or post a comment on Patreon or Facebook or wherever you find me, and I'm always adding ideas to my video list. I've got a big long list of all the videos I'd like to do, so I might have to, if I can up my pace a bit, I might get out more than one big one. What do I do? One big video a month and 2 little ones, it tends to be. So I can try and up the pace. Maybe I can get 3 little videos a month. But anyway, I'm waffling on now. I'm tired. I'm going to go get a drink and then I'm going to bed. So I'm going to walk the dog first, then I'm going to go to bed. So yeah, thanks a lot for joining me, and I'll hope to see you in more of these. Bye for now.